In this House of Logic video, we're going to set up Ceph on a Proxmox 8.4.1 cluster. So this is going to be quite similar to a video that's available on the official Proxmox website, but it's actually quite out of date on that site, so this is why we're going to go through this process. Now this cluster is actually a nested cluster, so we are dealing with hardware that is effectively all on the same actual physical infrastructure. So you may see a few strange sizes, I think, in terms of the disks, and if it simply pops up and says VirtIO on a disk serial number or device type, don't be too surprised by that. But nevertheless, the process is still the same. So what you want to do first of all is you want to find your actual machine to start with, or rather your Proxmox node, and then you want to go down to where it says Ceph on the menus and simply click on Install Ceph to get started. Now, because we are running a no subscription version, because we're not paying for this, we're going to have to select that for the repository, and we're going to go with the Ceph Squid 19.2. And of course, this is telling us that the no subscription is not the best choice for production setups, but this is not production, so I'm not too worried about that. Now we can click on Start the Squid installation, and this will launch the console window that starts the process off. And all we need to do is hit Y to confirm all the packages that need to be installed and wait for that to run through. Okay, so that stage is finished, and we can now click Next. So in the configuration, because we're dealing with a very basic cluster, we've only gone with a single network on here, so we're simply going to choose the only available network. On a production cluster, this is certainly not how I'd recommend that you'd want to do this. You would want to use additional networks as part of the replication strategy, and I think there may be some calculators on the Ceph website about this. But nevertheless, because we're dealing with a simple cluster, this will work. Now the cluster network, again, we choose the same thing, and we're going to go with 3 replicas and a minimum number of 2 replicas for the data replication across the nodes. So as it says here, additional monitors are recommended, and we'll do that as part of this process. So we hit Next again, and it's telling us it's done. Great. So now we can hit Finish. And you can see that there we have Ceph reporting health OK. There's only a single monitor and a single manager, and that's all there is to it so far. But what we need to do is we need to go to the other nodes in our cluster, and we need to repeat the process. So again, click Install Ceph. You can then choose the no subscription. You've got the 19.2 selected already, and start Squid installation. So once again, this is going to bring up the command window, and in a moment when it's prompted us, there we go, we can then say Y to continue, and we'll let that run through. Okay, so as soon as it gets to the reloading API stage there, we can then hit Next. It won't give us the configuration option because it's already picked up that it's initialized on the other node, and then we can click Finish. Now we need to complete that process on node number 3, and I'll kick that off, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that out of the video for reasons of timing. Okay, so node number 3 has completed the Ceph installation, and as you can see here, it's actually complaining about the OSD count, and funnily enough, that's actually what we need to go and do next. So let's hop back to node number 1, and within here we now need to go to OSD, and underneath OSD, which stands for Object Stored Daemon, we're going to go and create some OSDs on each of these nodes. Now each one of these is aligned with a volume, with a disk, effectively, and this these disks are, as I mentioned earlier, they are simply top-level Proxmox virtual disks. So it's picked up dev SDB, and it's going to use the disk, and effectively we can simply hit Next or rather Create on this page, and that will do the job. And if we reload that, we should expect to see something there. There we go. It may say down at the moment, but it should come up in a second, and we'll go to the next node. Okay, and finally the third node. Okay, so we now have 3 OSDs showing, and what we should do now is we need to go over to the monitor tab, and as it pointed out, we need to create some additional monitors. So let's go in order here. So we're going to go PVE2 and then PVE3. And I'm also going to create additional managers for redundancy reasons. So we'll go with one per node, effectively, one per host. And same here. And what we now need to do is, if we go over to the storage tab for one of these, we can now actually add this as, sorry, it's on the data store, data center rather. There we are. So we can add, I believe we add this as RBD. And we don't have a pool, I've forgotten to do a pool. Sorry, back to the Ceph configuration. So we're going to create a pool. And we'll call the pool, call it Ceph data. So this has got a size, I believe this is the number of placement groups, along with the minimum size. Oh no, that's the placement groups. So this is the number of replicas, sorry. And that should do the job. Okay, and there we go. It's actually now showing up on each node there. And if we go to storage, I'm not sure actually if we need to do this. Let's give it a go anyway. So back to the data center, back to storage. In fact, it's already showing up there. Is it going to let us add anything? Let's see what we can do. So we're going to call this one Ceph VMs. Let's give it a go. So content will be disk images, and that's fine. Okay, so that's actually showing up now twice underneath there. In fact, it's actually showing, there we go, it's actually, as when we created that pool, it is showing as the RBD already. So I'm not sure we needed to do that last step, but nevertheless. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to migrate a virtual machine across to use the Ceph storage. And to do that, we're going to go and select the virtual machine here, and we're going to go and choose the storage. And the disk action is to move storage, and our target storage, we're going to choose the Ceph, let's actually choose Ceph data, and move the disk across. And we're going to delete the source disk. Okay, so the disk move has completed, and hopefully, if I've not been too late to catch this, if we go back into Ceph and to the monitor section, we can actually see some of the activity. No, I'm looking in the wrong place. There we go, down the bottom here. So you can actually see that, and I think I must have missed most of it, you can actually see that there are disk writes. So we're not getting brilliant write speeds by any speed here, and we're seeing the number of IOPS as well. But the speed is to be expected, frankly, when you've got all of the storage in the same location on the same actual physical hardware storage bus, and when it's not fast in the first place, it's kind of par for the course. But that's fine, and yes, it says experiencing slow operations, but nevertheless, it is all saying active and clean, and it's basically looking good, obviously, apart from the slow performance. But that's about it, or it would be. Let's actually start the machine up, thinking about it, and we can see what that looks like on Ceph. So obviously this will trigger a whole load of more. That's okay. Hang on, we are complaining about something. That's because there's a disk on here that is on some storage that's been removed. Let's try again. So yeah, that's just an ISO that was on the wrong location, and that is now starting up. Let's go back to Ceph quickly, and let's monitor the activity and see if we see those numbers change for a moment or two. Okay, so we can in fact see that we are seeing some IOPS here, and we're seeing some disk reads and writes. And if we go into the console, you can see that I'm not faking this. So there we go, there's my Raspberry Pi desktop machine starting up. And Ceph, which I think unfortunately may wipe this data. Oh no, that just wipes the graph. every time you go back into it, but it's showing those disk performance metrics there. So yeah, that's about it in terms of a Ceph setup and quick demonstration. I hope this has been useful, and if so, please like and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, I will catch you next time. Thanks very much. Bye now.